Well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo. And as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. And thank you guys for tuning in on this Monday night. It is, of course, getting closer and closer to the NFL season over here, guys. 89 days, 19 hours, 23 minutes, and 20 seconds until the Dallas Cowboys kick off against the Carolina Panthers. And I've had this clock up for a little bit and it seems like it's just clicking down faster, faster, faster. How we doing, Dallas Cowboy Talk? What's going on? Steve Scroggins, Javen, Cody, Jason, Boomer, Derek Young, Brian, Carolina Cowboys, Junior Muth. I mean, boy, you guys are hitting hard and heavy tonight. It's been an interesting day, and it's amazing because there's always so much that's happening with our Dallas Cowboys that it's hard to keep up sometimes. This morning I got up and we were talking or looking at Zeke Elliott basically saying that last year was just a waste. He accomplished nothing, and he's looking forward to this season. And it seems like that was literally like a week or two ago. That was just this morning that came out. And since then, we've been dealing with the Earl Thomas situation. We've been dealing with Zack Martin. We heard that the contract was signed. Then we heard, well, it's close. It hasn't been signed yet. They're still working on it and so on. And it's just like, boom. And then, of course, you've got other holdouts. Michael Bennett says he's going to show up tomorrow for practice for the Eagles. So there's your little Eagle talk for you Eagle fans out there. You got Julio Jones, who's definitely holding out now because he wants a new contract. And, of course, we know Earl Thomas, which is kind of getting to be interesting. And I know I get so much hate and get told what to say so often and stuff. It's like, why are you talking about Earl Thomas? Well, got to tell you, because it's a big deal. It's a big deal because the Cowboys had interest. Brian from Suckow, Clifford, how you doing? Sandman, Mark, Jay, Justin, Javen, Chris. Good grief, you guys are jumping in hard and heavy tonight. It's a big deal because the Cowboys are interested. You know that Steve and Jones had even said that, we're still looking. He said this a while ago, we're still looking. There may be some people out there we might be interested in. Well, hello. They were interested in him before. Why wouldn't they be interested now? So sometime between now and training camp, they could make a deal. Maybe they don't. You're right, Marcelo. Ian Rappaport, I got killed. I got killed because of one. I had somebody tell me that, hey, the Cowboys are talking with Seattle about Earl Thomas, and they threw in the idea of getting rid of Orlando Scandrick. They didn't bite on it. That's what I said. I had people out there literally saying and doing videos saying, you are a clickbaiter, you are a piece of crap, you're lying to the people. Yet Ian Rappaport gets more stuff wrong. Remember when Ian Rappaport said that the Redskins were going to trade Kirk Cousins to the 49ers and trade for Tony Romo? You remember that? Yeah. You remember when the Titans coach, he said that he's going to be getting a new contract? He was fired the next day? Yeah, that guy. He said the day before Dez Bryant was cut, that we now have clarity on the Dez Bryant situation. He will be taking a pay cut and remaining in Dallas. So, let's open up for business here. And bartender, Joe Boo, needs a refill. So, yeah, we're talking about that guy. So, he came out and said it's a done deal and everything else. Everybody came out behind him. Yep, it's done, it's done, it's done. And so, right now, we're saying, pump the brakes just a little bit. Slow your roll just a little bit because it's not completely done. Maybe it'll be done by tomorrow morning and he'll be on the field. Well, here's the thing, Ronell. Excuse me. Here's the thing. Not all holdouts are the same. Not all contracts are the same. There's some positions that you can say you got to pay. Quarterback. Listen, if you don't have a quarterback, you don't have a team. Flat out. Teams are always chasing quarterbacks. You got to get one. Wide receiver. Do you have to pay a lot of money to wide receiver? And I'll get back to that in a second. But the Cowboys have been burned on a lot of contracts. They've always tried to do right by the player by saying, hey, look, you're a Dallas Cowboy player. We want to take care of you. And you can go on the list from about 2007. Miles Austin had 2 good years. Really, 1 good year. He got a big contract. Went downhill. DeMarcus Ware, although DeMarcus Ware played consistent and stuff, he still paid a lot of money, but what did we get? You had Jay Ratcliffe, defensive tackle, played pretty good, got paid. You have Marion Barber. That's one of those ones that you look back and say, $45 million for a guy who wasn't a full-time starter? So when you come to contracts for wide receiver, and you got Julio Jones. Okay, so actually, let me go ahead and go here with Julio real quick for our Atlanta Falcon fan. And if you come upon 3 Atlanta Falcon fans and they're knee-deep in cement, do you know what you do? You get some more cement. Julio Jones is holding out for a new contract. Now, Julio Jones right now is getting about $12.5 million a year. And, he's looking at guys getting $16 million now. So he's like, you know what? I deserve more money. And probably does. But see, here's the thing that's interesting, because what you remember isn't always the norm. Let's take Bob Beamon. And I know most of you might not know who Bob Beamon was, but he was a long jumper. Bob Beamon jumped 29 feet, 4.5 inches in the Olympics in Mexico City. Incredible. Longest standing record, it stood for 40 some odd years. It was just incredible. Whenever you thought of Bob Beamon, you would think of that iconic picture of him in that pose, looking like he was just floating on air and jumping 29 feet, 4.5 inches. It was incredible. Unbelievable. But that's what's burned your mind. But guess what? He didn't do that every single time. That one blew away what he had done in the past. Never got anywhere close to that again. So Julio Jones, you can't argue, great wide receiver. Great. In 2012, he had 122 catches, 16.1 yards. Great. I'm sorry, wrong person. That was Calvin Johnson. But Calvin Johnson, the year that he signed his new contract, he signed it after it, 122 catches, 16.1 yards. Paid a man. After he got paid, 84 catches, 71, 88. It's Bob Beamon. It's that incredible jump. You saw Megatron left and right, catching balls all over the place. Boom. But then it goes downhill. Julio Jones in 2014 had 104 catches for 1,593 yards. Wow. The real deal. The next year, he followed it up with 136 catches, 1,871 yards. Dude, you are the real deal. But here's the thing. When Calvin Johnson had 122 catches, 16.1 yards per completion, that team went 4-12. Lots of catches, lots of yards, no wins. Julio Jones in 2014 with that 104 catches, almost 1,600 yards, they went 6-10. 2015, 136 catches, 1,871 yards. You can't hear me? You guys hear me? Fight Night? Because you're the only person I've seen that says they can't hear me. You sure you got your stuff on? I'm seeing the signs go up here. I'm hearing them there. What's good, Law Nation? How are you doing tonight, man? But here's the thing. In 2015, when he had 136 catches, they went 8-8. Now, what's amazing is he dropped by 50 catches the next year. They go to the Super Bowl. So now I ask you, because he has since those years dropped to 88 and 83 catches per year, do you now go ahead and pay him a whole lot more money that's holding out? Because this is the same conversation that you had had about Des Bryant, because Des Bryant got paid and the natural curve of things started going downhill. And when you have a wide receiver that's making all kinds of yards, I mean, look at Antonio Brown. What is the Steelers won with Antonio Brown? You can have a great wide receiver that's getting all kinds of catches. You've had Odell Beckham in New York. Do you pay him? You don't have a single playoff win with him. You only had one playoff appearance with him. So that's where you got to start looking at. In your mind, we as fans think you got to have a great wide receiver who's going to be making 100 catches. But the facts don't back that up. The facts do not back that up. So that's where you start looking at, okay, we have X amount of money to spend. Where do we spend it? Where are we going to get the biggest bang for that? The talking heads will tell you that you got to have that wide receiver. Tom Brady. The only really true number one that they had was Randy Moss in the twilight of his career. Yet, how many Super Bowls has he been to and won and been to? Now, you get to Zack Martin. So now you're saying, okay, well, Mark, if you're saying don't pay people, no. You got to understand what's important to spend money on and where you won't get burned. Wide receivers, by the time they hit 28, they start going downhill. It's a natural progression. Offensive linemen, generally speaking, play well into their 30s, 35, 36, 37 years old. So that's where you say, look, this guy's been in the league 4 years. All-Pro, 4 years. First team All-Pro, twice. Second team All-Pro, twice. Hasn't missed a game. And we know when you don't have an offensive line, what happens to your quarterback and what happens to games. Take a look, Atlanta Falcons game. You don't have the lineman to open up holes for Zeke Elliott, he ain't going to run but so far. I don't care who you are. If you don't have a line blocking for you, unless, of course, you're Barry Sanders, you're not going to do well. And if you don't have an offensive line to protect your quarterback, you're not going to do well. And if the Cowboys had learned that lesson earlier in Tony Romo's career, we'd probably be talking about other Super Bowls we would have won. But the reality was the Cowboys' bargain basement shop for offensive linemen. They didn't believe in drafting offensive linemen early, and Tony Romo was getting killed. We were blessed with the fact that Tony Romo had natural abilities to make shit up on the run and could move and dodge people. Because if you go back and look at those games, you'll see Tony Romo constantly under pressure, constantly ducking and diving. The fact that that guy made it as long as he did with the shots that he took because he didn't have an offensive line is amazing. And it was a disservice to him to basically keep focusing in on your TOs, your Roy Williams, and forget about what is most important, and that's your offensive line and defensive line. You can have a sports car, but a sports car is not going to go well on that off-road. You've got to have stuff that's going to fit the situation. So paying Zack Martin, that's money well spent. You now have your offensive line locked up till 2023 with the exception of Collins, which is a good thing. It's going to be stable. Now, we get back to DeMarcus Lawrence. Now, here's the problem with DeMarcus Lawrence. Unlike Zack Martin, who's been a Pro Bowler 4 times, never missed a game, never been in trouble, offensive linemen play well late into their careers. DeMarcus Lawrence, first year, rookie year, which defensive linemen don't necessarily do great. You have very few that come out the box and are Reggie White. 2 sacks as he came on in the season. He was injured in the playoffs against Matthew Stafford. Great. Second year, boom. 8 sacks. Great season. Third year, PED suspension, injury, back surgery. Back surgery. In fact, this time last year, who was thinking about DeMarcus Lawrence other than DeMarcus Lawrence was a wasted pick. He may be a bust. It's time to move on. Thank God we drafted Taco. Breakout year. So now, do you invest a $70 million contract on one really good year or one incredible year, a good year, and 2 not so much? And then the second question is, how long will he be able to hold that up? How long will he be able to perform? Because you spend that big money, just like we did with Jay Ratcliffe, just like we did with Marion Barber, just like we did with Miles Austin. If they're not making or doing that percentage of work for the team down the road, then you're screwed. You get into cap hell. So that's why I believe the Cowboys are more than happy to go ahead and say, you know what? We'll do a franchise tag on you this year. Yes, we're going to pay premium amount of money. We're going to pay $17 million to you this year. But if it doesn't work out, we can walk away. And that's what happened with Dez Bryant. We had his best season, 2013, 93 catches, 1,223 yards. Great year. We went 8-8. The next year, 88 catches, 1,320 yards. Boom, got the new contract, 12-4. But since that time, after he got the contract, the body started failing him. The numbers went down. And I know some of that is we had scrubs for quarterbacks. We had the changeup of Dak Prescott, in 2016. They just didn't have the same chemistry and stuff. So when you look at that, will this help us get Earl Thomas? Well, we'll get to Earl Thomas here in a minute, Benny, but thank you for the super chat there. And Law, if you want to call in, man, Skype in if you got time, if you got some space in there. So the problem is how do you spend money that you're going to get a return on your investment? And that is the question. And that's the question that they're having right now in New York with Odell Beckham. Do we give this guy who's a head case, a nut case, who is all me, a big contract, and he ends up being crazy and costing us wins and so forth? You're in Atlanta now wondering, okay, Julio Jones, his numbers have been going down. I mean, he only had 3 touchdown catches last year. He's already getting $12 million this year. Shout out to you too, Joseph. We got 2 Josephs back to back. Joseph Torres and Joseph Barboza. Okay. Denko, Daryl, Anita Applebaum. Rob, we got Joshua, Alec Cash. What's happening, Alec? Guys, check out, you guys, there's some great guys out there that are working. Alec Cash on Twitter and also has a blog site that he works and stuff on. Check him out. Law Nation, the man that you are listening to, nothing but the best. So now, Earl Thomas. Seattle's had the same kind of an issue with Cam Chancellor. Cam Chancellor held out. They paid Cam Chancellor, but he was hurt, didn't play for a year. So they got burned on that one. And so they're looking at this and saying, right now they're about number-wise about the same as we are. Now, our numbers may get better depending on how Zack Martin contract works out. I'm believing that it's going to be, maybe $5 or $6 million this year on the cap hit. Where we'll actually save some money and get some more space because of it. Because they could actually go through with DeMarcus Lawrence's contract. They could go ahead and sign him to a long-term deal and make it team-friendly where it's like only costing $7 million a year, for the first year. But then you're locked up. Krista, did I get your email? I have to check. I haven't been checking. I get a lot of emails and a lot of spam and things, and I'm technology challenged. I'll check after the show and see if I did. So Seattle is at the point of, we don't want to give him a contract. We're happy for him to come in as he is. We have the leverage on him, and so on. Because what Seattle does when they want to keep a player, they always sign him before before that first year starts. They don't have any plans to negotiate. They haven't talked to his agent. Nothing. And Earl Thomas has seen the writing on the wall. Legion of Boom. It's dust in the wind. The coach, gone. And you have Richard Sherman, who's basically saying, listen, I played with Achilles that everybody knew was going to tear at some point. I could have shut it down, but I said the team is more important than my physical well-being. And my thanks was, bye-bye. See you later. Best of luck. So you go out and get yours. Aloha, Mark. How you doing from Hawaii? Man, I would love to be in Hawaii right now myself. So I'm curious. Yeah, Justin. Yeah, we won't know till tomorrow about his contract. They got a little over anxious on that stuff because everybody. I was actually sitting out back and stuff and having a conversation and stuff about some important things, and I kept getting all these texts. Oh, it's done. It's done. It's signed. It's done. You know, everybody's hitting me. I was like, okay, all right. So it's finally done. And I kept going through trying to find out. Okay, what's the details of this thing? How does this thing working out? I mean, I know it's going to be the highest paid contract. How does the numbers break down? How much is the signing bonus? How much of it is guaranteed money? So we know what the effect is going to be on the cap, because we have about $11.5 million right now. And everybody says there's no way in the world you can sign him. You got to sign Zack Martin. I'm trying to tell you guys, when you sign these new deals, the beginning of the contracts are team friendly, where you're not paying a whole lot of cash out front. It's kicked down the road. Laugh out loud, funny, them damn trolls. You know, I've gotten so trolls are almost like family now. If y'all think you're really good, what is it with the Eagle? You know, listen. What's so funny is you Eagles expect that what happened last year is going to happen every year from now on. I don't know how many times I've had to say the same thing. And that is, the reality of it is, football is constantly evolving. There's only two things that you can count on in the NFL. New England will always be vying for a Super Bowl, and the doo-doo Browns will always be in the basement. Other than that, everybody else is in flux. The NFC East, every year, it's a new winner. And that goes for teams that have won the Super Bowl. Since 2004, every year the team that won the division, on average, drops back 3.6 games from the year before. Now, take a look at us. 13-3, 2016. We followed the curve, followed math. We went 9-7. Boom. Am I wrong? It's the way it is. So yes, you guys might be 10-6. You might be 9-7. Hell, you might be 8-8. It's hard to maintain that for a couple of reasons. One, when you're good, people want what you had. It's going to take some of your coaches. It's going to take some of your players. Some of your players are going to turn around and say, I want to get paid. So then there's less money to go around with doing the things that you used to do, signing a whole bunch of different players and stuff, because now you got to start paying people. You got a shorter off season. You got less time to heal. While Tyron Smith has been resting up for the last 6 months, you know, back in December, healing, getting himself stronger. The Eagles, you guys had 6 weeks less to recover. And of course, because you won, people want what you got. They want to knock you off because, hey, my team's crap. But if I can beat the Super Bowl champions, raises my stock. So you're getting everybody's best game. Then there's the expectations of you being good. All those things will come back around. Hey, you guys may end up walking on water and doing great again next year. But the statistics will tell you, the numbers will tell you that you're going to step back. And somebody else will go up. And the crazy thing is, this is the one that's really crazy because it may not be the Eagles we need to worry about. It may actually be the New York Giants. Because typically what has happened is the team in the basement ends up coming back and winning the division. Think I'm wrong? Eagles. You don't remember the year before when you guys didn't come on this channel? When you guys were in the basement? And when we won it, we went from 4-12 and won it? Yeah, that's typically how it goes. So we may not need to be scared about the Eagles as much as we need to be scared about the Giants. And stinking New York Giant fan, I don't want to hear crap from you. Because your quarterback is garbage. Okay? Odell, the diva, is a cancer. He's going to kill your team. Am I taking calls tonight? I'm still having a little problem on getting the calls working into the system. I still have to actually play with that a little more. I actually tried to do a test on it, but I just kept getting, they weren't hearing me on the other end, and I still can't quite get the phone loud enough where you really hear it. What's happening, Nicholas? Mark? Yeah, well, dilly, I like that. What's up, Mark? Law's on vacation. Oh, that's right. Shout out to Law, man. Yeah, happy. I forgot you are on vacation, man. I know you had a ball in San Diego. Talk about it. Why would a team want to leave San Diego? Have you been out there with the weather, the beach, the people? Oh, my God. It's like, how stupid are y'all? Eli is trash. You know, what's funny is Eli Manning. Okay, we talk about Dak Prescott. At least in Sporting News, they rank Dak Prescott 15. Not great. Middle of the road, middle of the pack. I believe he's a little bit better than that. But they ranked Eli Manning 30th. Ouch. Ouch. Alex Smith actually ranked 24th. But we'll see how the teams play because you don't know. Right now, everybody's loving the Rams. Everybody's loving the Eagles. People are still loving Atlanta. They're loving Carolina. And we're going to watch. Oh, New Orleans. They're loving New Orleans. You're going to watch. Half of those teams that made the playoffs this year won't be there next year, if not more. We have to remember they have amnesia. That's funny. Gray, that's one of those things that, here's the thing. What you have, like I was using the analogy of Bob Beamon, what you have in your mind is every time he jumps, it's going to be 29, 4.5. You remember Cam Newton in that MVP season, lightning up everywhere. Cam Newton, Cam, doing a great job. And you think that that is Cam Newton every single time. And again, Dak Prescott's numbers were better. But you can tell Cowboy fans, oh, no, I'll take Cam Newton anytime. Oh, I'll take Joe Flacco. I'll take Matthew Stafford. I'll take Matt Ryan. Dak Prescott's numbers actually have been better, even with the bad year last year, than those guys. It's the perception that you have. What you remember is a couple of bad games, and in your mind, that's Dak Prescott every single game. But it's not. You're not remembering. What you're remembering from the Green Bay game in the playoffs in 2016 is you're remembering Aaron frickin' Rodgers throwing that pass, breaking our heart in the last few seconds of the game. You're not remembering that Dak Prescott threw for 3 touchdown passes in a game. You're not remembering that Dak Prescott actually had more touchdowns than Aaron Rodgers in that game. What you're remembering is the bad games where the offensive line was busted up, where the defense gave up 30 or more points when we scored 30 points at home. What you remember is games without Zeke Elliott and him looking bad. You're not remembering the good games. You're not realizing that the first half of the season that him and Carson Wentz were basically tied in touchdowns. You're not remembering that Zeke Elliott to start the season was only averaging like 3.4 yards a carry the first couple of games. In fact, only had 13 yards against Denver. And I see my troll that truly loves me is back with a new character here. Bye-bye. Okay. One thing that I ask, and I he's probably some little teenager, thinks he's cute and funny and all. Okay. I talk trash. I'll cut on the Atlanta Falcons fans. I'll cut on the Giants fans and things like that. I try and keep it clean, okay? I mean, those are jokes because they're jokes, and just kind of like their teams. They're jokes. But I understand we have some wonderful women that are in here. We have some young kids that are in here and stuff. And it's trying to at least have real discussions about football, okay? I'm a homer. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. I'm always going to try and give you the best about my Dallas Cowboys. Shaded, of course, because I am a Cowboy fan. But come on. There's no place for some of that crazy stuff. Yeah, Cody. Yeah, he definitely wants to love me a whole bunch. Who are my top 3 breakout players going to be this year? Film production. I'm hoping Brian Price will be one of those breakout guys. Brian Price, been basically a part-time player, has been injured and stuff like that, at nose tackle, because nose tackle is a spot that we've got wide open. It's a spot that the Cowboys don't really like to invest in. And I being a former nose tackle or nose guard back when I played, because I played over the center, we called us nose guards, okay? It's a spot that the Cowboys don't really like to invest a lot into it. They don't believe that you need that guy. Me personally, and it may be because I was a nose guard, but I believe that the defensive line, like the offensive line, is where the defense is built. You get the biggest bang for your buck with a defensive lineman. Here's the thing. You can have Deion Sanders out there in his prime, but unless you have great guys around him, or unless you can stop the quarterback from having 7, 8, 9 seconds, you give a quarterback 7, 8, 9 seconds, Deion Sanders is still going to have passes completed on him. If you have a guy who can plug up the middle, an immovable force, a guy that helps slow down the run, a guy who can drop the anchor when he gets double teamed and can't get pushed out of the hole, it makes it that much harder for the offense to run the ball. If you have a guy, immovable force, who can put a push in the middle, it makes it that much easier for your ends. Because the quarterback can't step up. He's going to be feeling like he's in the trash compactor in Star Wars. The walls are closing in on me. He's going to try now. I've got to get rid of this ball. He's going to, maybe before the receiver's ready, or he's going to get worried about getting hit, so he's going to throw a pass, or maybe he is getting hit, or maybe the ball's getting batted down. If you're forcing a quarterback to pass quicker, it makes the life that much easier for the DBs. It makes them better. If you got a guy in the middle who is requiring you to get double teamed because you're worried about him hitting the quarterback, it keeps your linebackers clean because the defense is designed for the linebackers to make the plays. You don't want them getting hit by the guards coming up in there and getting knocked out of spot, because that's when you get the plays that are going to the house. So you get the biggest bang for the buck with defensive linemen. Okay. Brian Price. He's a big guy. He's not that athletic, but he's 332 pounds and about 6'3". He can drop an anchor. He's got some mass to him. He's harder to push out of the way. You can put David Irving as a tackle, and he's played really, really well. What David Irving can do is he's fast and he can move around people. But if you get a double team, you get two offensive linemen that are 300 pounds plus. A guy who's 6'8" and about 280 pounds is getting blown out of there. He can't drop an anchor. And because he's tall, you're a bigger target. When you're up high, it's you're not close to the ground. You want a shorter guy. You want a big fat guy, about 6'1", about 340, 50 pounds to be in that middle. But I think Brian Price is going to be a guy that's going to step up. I think Hearns is going to thrive in this offense, as well as Cole Beasley, because I think, like I was going through and talking about, when you have the number one wide receiver that's making all these spectacular catches, you're so focused of getting that ball to that guy that you kind of forget the other ones. And defenses know, if I can stop him, they're not going to be worried so much about the other guys. But it's the teams that end up passing the ball around to multiple players that keep you on your toes, that keep you guessing, not knowing where it's going to go. When 2016, Cole Beasley had the season like Dez Bryant had this past year. Dez was injured first couple of games. It took him a while before he started meshing with Dak Prescott, and Dak Prescott had the attitude of, I'm going to hit the man who's open. Dez wants the ball, he's got to get open. 2017, they kept focusing on, we got to get the ball to Dez Bryant. Number one wide receiver, let's keep throwing it to him. And you were throwing to him when he wasn't necessarily open. And I know everybody will say, well, that's because Tony Romo used to throw him open and yada, yada. Okay, well, that's fine. Tony Romo is Tony Romo. Tony Romo is a different quarterback than Dak Prescott is. Dak Prescott was more of a surgeon who can move around in the pocket and hit the open man on these timing routes. Problem with Dez Bryant is Dez Bryant, like Tony Romo could dodge, go up underneath somebody, and change the play, run around, buy some time, and find and hit Terrence Williams open. It's different. Dak Prescott, it's more of a timing route. Look at 2016. Go back and look at some of the films. You look at how Dak would hit Cole Beasley going across the middle, perfect ball, right there in the hands, in stride, and boom, Cole Beasley's going to the house. And that's where Dak Prescott will thrive. So I look at Cole Beasley having a great year coming up. I look at Brian Price coming up and having a really good year. Another guy I'm really interested in seeing maybe resurrect his career is Jihad Ward, because I believe he was playing more defensive end, and I don't think that was a position for him. I believe being underneath Rod Martinelli, getting him at defensive tackle, that he's going to be back to his natural position. And, it's funny because as a fan, if you haven't played football before, there's a major difference of playing, like, say, right tackle versus left tackle. Everything is reversed. You got your weight on the opposite foot. Your eyes are now focused in on the other side where you're used to being. It's like going from being right-handed to left-handed. Yeah, you can write left-handed, but it looks like chicken scratch. And the same thing of being a defensive end versus a defensive tackle. The hits are coming from different locations. And some guys can play all the positions on there. Some guys have just been, listen, this is what I do, and that's the only thing I know. It's kind of like me where everybody says, oh, you need to change things up. I'm tired of hearing the same thing. Well, you know what? This is what I do. It's set in my mind. Hello, friends. Mark Holmes here, my buddy Cowboy Joe. It's just like burned in my head. I can do it in my sleep. But then when I have to start thinking about doing something different, it's like, I forgot. I got to keep redoing it. I make mistakes. So you have to get guys. Oh, snap. Okay. Where are you?
Yo, what's up, man? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, man. No video.
All right.
Welcome to the show, Law Nation in the house, who's calling in on vacation, man. How'd you work that one out?
Man, no, I made it back yesterday,
Oh,
late
okay.
last night. So I'm back in the mix, man. I'm back in the Dallas area.
Fantastic, man. I know everybody knows who Law Nation is because you know you're listening to nothing but the best. And if you don't, you have to be subscribing to Law because Law, man, he breaks it down and he really knows his stuff, man. How you feeling about our Cowboys right now?
I love where we at. I like flying under the radar. I like the aspect that everybody counting us out. And with that being said, this is when we punch everybody in the mouth. And I say this: we need to
Yeah.
have a slogan. You know how Jason Garrett go around talking about finish the fight?
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I don't want no slogans from Jason Garrett. I'm sick of him, man. I'm sick of Jason
Right,
Garrett. Listen, just do the damn job. Forget about the.
right.
Oh man, finish the fight and oh, geez. Okay, but yeah, but you're right. We need a slogan.
We need to have a slogan that say "Start the fight."
Start the fight. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to finish nothing because, well, we want to finish it, but I want us to go out there and start it. We want to be able to play with that chip on our shoulder. I believe that Ezekiel Elliott, he really needs to play with the chip on his shoulder, and everybody need to fall in line.
But how about kick some ass? Should be the slogan. I'm good with that one. Just kick
Hell
some.
yeah.
Just go out and kick some ass. Excuse my language, everybody.
No, no, no. We
But
got to be
but
real like this,
seriously,
man.
punch somebody in the throat.
Yes,
Okay.
indeed. Hey, just like my guy Voch Lombardi.
Mm-hmm.
On one of his things is saying is this hashtag ass whoop. We
There
need
you
to
go.
have that on our t-shirts. We need to put that on. And I'm telling everybody right too as well. Go ahead, make Dak Prescott drive this bus because we're gonna have everything in place for him to drive it right through the Super Bowl.
Hey, listen, I'm good with that. I tell you what,
Hmm.
if we can run the football, okay,
Yep.
ball control, he ends up having 25 touchdown passes, say 5 or 6 rushing touchdowns. I'm good with that because this is what I was trying to explain to people because everybody keeps thinking about like Julio Jones with 122 catches and 136 catches and stuff, and yet the team goes 8-8. All of these great wide receivers out there, when you look at the numbers of what they did in the season, and the team didn't bust a great. So
Hmm.
understand, everybody keeps saying Dak Prescott's got to have a running game. Well, the reality is, most teams that have a good running game to go with the quarterback do well, a la Philadelphia Eagles. Great running the ball this year, made it that much easier for Carson Wentz. The year before, not quite so much. Carson Wentz didn't look half as good.
Hmm.
You go with Drew Brees. Drew Brees got a running game last year. His passing numbers went down. They're back in the playoffs. 5,000 plus yards. They're 7-9.
Yes, indeed. And then on top of that, what people fail to realize, and I love the fickle fans and the trolls. Shout out to them. But this
Yes.
is the thing
Shout
here.
out to the trolls. There you go.
Yes, indeed. We need them because they're going to be they more I guess in the mix within our fickle fans. But neither here nor there. This is the thing is what Cowboys fans and the other fickle fans and other trolls fail to realize. When Drew Brees went 7-9, I think they went 7-9 2 years in a row, right?
Yeah. He had 5,000
Yeah.
yards plus.
Yeah. So if that and we all want Sean Payton as our quarterback, right? As our quarterback coach, I mean as our head coach, right?
Yeah.
We all want him, but he went 7-9. People fail to
True.
realize that we the Dallas Cowboys. We can't afford to go 7-9.
Right.
So this is the thing. When we talking about diva wide receivers, we talk about receivers in general. That's nothing but a paint job on a car. I
Right.
mean, we so worried about the paint job on the car, we forget what's behind the wheel and what's inside the engine. That's what we really need to focus on this year, and that's what we got. We got some suitable parts as far as the paint job. It may not look that great, but damn it, we got a hell of an engine. We got a hell of an armor on this car. Matter of fact, this is a bus or truck now, and
Yeah.
we got the wheels to roll, and that's what I like with Zack Martin. We're going to get things going in the right direction this year.
Well, the running game, that's key. Like I said, to me,
Mm-hmm.
looking at Tyron Smith, he looks like he's dropped about 10 pounds. And the fact that he was actually able to shut it down back in December gave him more time to heal. If he can stay healthy, and even if he doesn't, at least for once, we actually have backups. We have a plan B for the team. The thing, of course, that still worries me is Jason Garrett. I'm
Yes,
still, worried, but I feel good about Alexander with the offensive line. I feel good about, I can't think of the name of a running back coach. Gary.
Let me see what I can do with my end. I think I got bad feedback on my end. Let me see if I can
All right.
unplug my camera.
You sound great over here. We don't have a picture or anything, but you sound
it's
great.
cool. Let me see.
Okay, we just lost him. But I feel good about our coaching staff. You can't not feel good about Chris Richard. Chris Richard, you feel like all of a sudden we're getting a sea change with these guys. You feel good about what he's teaching, and you know that we've got guys that have the raw skills. Lewis played extremely well last year. For a rookie, fantastic. Woozy, when he finally got past the hamstring issues, played really, really well. One of the, statistically, one of the best cornerbacks in the league. Xavier Woods definitely shows potential, definitely hits like I like in the safety. And that's where – okay, are you back there?
Oh, yeah, man. I'm listening to you, man. I'm listening to you.
Yeah, so, I feel good about the coaches from that standpoint. But unfortunately, the thing that's been killing me was this past week they've been showing on NFL Network basically the heartbreaking games, the 2 Green Bay losses during the season and in the playoffs and stuff. And you're watching these games and you're just you know the outcome. You don't want to watch, but you just have to watch. And you think about the mistakes we made in coaching. Scoring too quickly and leaving time on the clock for Aaron freaking Rodgers. If there's nothing else that this coaching staff should do, is to make sure that we always have the ball last. Don't ever leave one freaking second for Aaron Rodgers, because it's always going to break your heart.
Yes, indeed. It's always going to break our heart. But the NFL Network, they know who butters their bread. We all know that the Cowboys, we making moves around here. Even whether or not we win, lose, or draw, we more than Raiders. So they know who butter their bread.
You're right about that. All right, so the question is, okay, now we're getting Zack Martin taken care of. I can't wait to see the contract numbers to see if we actually save some money on the cap this year. What is your opinion and your thought? Everybody knows mine on Earl Thomas. What is yours?
All right. I think I lost you a little bit. I don't know what's going on. But here's the thing. We talking about with Earl Thomas, right?
Yeah.
If we have the room, do we have the money, do we have the resources to go grab a Earl?
What would you give up if we had to give up something for him?
I mean, right now he's going to be free 99 next year, right? And if you really want to pay for the Cowboys, I think that we can squeeze the Seattle Seahawks right now for a 6 or 7 round draft pick. I know it sounds like unbelievable at this point, but if we can then get him on our team and renegotiate his salary so he can at least count pretty much, I would say, we got to say, come on. If you really want to rep this silver and blue, you want to put that star in your helmet, and you want a job after you retire with ESPN, NFL Network coming knocking down at your door,
you definitely
and you sign with us right now for $8 million a year.
Oh, okay. And that's what I see. That's the thing. Here's the other thing that I'm kind of. This may sound crazy, but at this point, both sides know they're headed for a divorce. Okay. Seattle's not negotiating with him at all, period, nothing. And they always end up signing guys before that that last year the contract's up. You got rid of everybody else, and now you're basically saying, well, we want you in here, we expect you in here, but we ain't giving you any more money. He already knows everybody's gone. You've had the riff. You're going to have a disgruntled employee. Is having him come in there pissed off worthwhile? And are you looking at a situation where, you know what, the Cowboys just waited out? It's kind of like Tony Romo. Everybody was thinking, okay, Houston needs a quarterback, Denver needs a quarterback, and in the end, nobody bit. They just wait you out. So the Cowboys could just wait it out. Sooner or later, they're just going to say it's not working and maybe let him go.
I think that with Tony Romo's situation, I think that the last handshake that he got from Jerry Jones, it was one of those secret handshakes where he had a fistful of cash, or one of Jerry Jones' credit cards. Because Tony Romo could have easily went to the Houston, could have easily went to the Denver Broncos,
right,
or he could have easily went to another team. I think the Deadskins were beating down the bush trying to get him.
Yeah.
So, but neither here nor there. I don't think.
But here's the thing, though, is the teams.
Go ahead.
But the thing is, the teams figured, we'll just wait it out. We're not going to offer you anything for it. We're going to wait it out. And that's what the Cowboys can be right now with Earl Thomas. Actually, they could have already had him. We know they'd give him the second-round pick. Earl Thomas would be here right now. And, they offered the third. I'm actually glad we kept the second and the third. I'm happy with the guys that we have. And now, actually, the Cowboys are sitting in a spot of advantage right now because he's holding out. It's just a question of how far is he willing to take it. Is it going to be one of those ones, okay, I'll show up during training camp? But if it ends up being that he's holding out all the way through training camp, you've got a new coach, you've got new players, at some point they're just going to say, we just got to move on.
Yeah, I think that's their philosophy, like 2 tiers in the bucket.
Yeah.
I think that they're not going to really, because like you said, I heard earlier, you're talking about Cam Chancellor, right?
Yeah.
And they did that same game with Cam, and he didn't show up the same year.
Right.
And did they do that too as well with Marshawn?
Yeah.
Beast mode?
They did. Both of them. And they got burned on it. So, they're not apt to go ahead and appease a guy because, there was the rift in that locker room. And in the NFL, you got to side with the quarterback. Quarterbacks are harder to get than anything else. And I think that's why Chris Richard is gone from there. There is no reason that you get rid of a Chris Richard who had, in point scoring, number 1, 3 years, 3rd and 13th. Okay, I mean, that's his record as the defensive coordinator. Number 1 3 times, 3rd and 13th. And the 13th was last year, and most of the team was hurt. So to get rid of a guy with that record, would we get rid of somebody with that kind of record? I mean, look at Jason Garrett and how many 8-8 and 8-8 seasons did we have and stuff. He's had 2 winning seasons, yet he's still here. He's had not a single season that he was below the top half of the NFL and got kicked to the curb. That tells you a whole lot about what's really going on there in Seattle. And it's interesting because now the writers out there are talking about them signing Trey Boston or Eric Reed.
Right.
They're planning. They're looking at this.
And I think they have the ability to absorb those type of players because, hell, they got a guy up on their roster already. And this is none of the deal. This is not the same. Okay, guys?
Yeah.
But Frank Clark, he beat the hell out of his fiance or old lady, and it's never been brought up to the national media on the extent that we hear it. And then on top of course, on our players, he beat the hell out of that person, and he still gets to play. I mean, there's no conduct unbecoming. There's no suspension. So the Seattle Seahawks, I guess domestic violence there in that city and state is not important, there, and you can get away with it. But you can absorb those type of things. But down in Dallas, you can't. So with an Eric Reed, he fit better in the Seattle Seahawks scheme and schematics and on their roster and on their team.
Well, it's the curse and the blessing of being a Cowboy fan.
Right.
Because we are so covered on everything. Nobody care about if Tampa Bay Buccaneers gets in trouble or, somebody from Buffalo or the New York Jets. But it's big news at the Cowboys. And so you hear all the time, Dallas Cowboy player, because when it happens, with Zeke Elliott, it was pounded in your head day after day after day. You believe that it's the Dallas Cowboys, your only team out there that's getting in trouble. That's the only team I hear about, Cowboys getting in trouble. And once you hear it, whether they're guilty or innocent, you've heard it the first time, it's big news. When they're acquitted, it's in small print or it's in the back page and it's not really covered. So that's the perception that people get with us is Cowboy players out there. Ain't nobody else getting in trouble but Cowboy ones. But yeah, there's some real bad guys that are out there that have done a hell of a lot worse than Boobygate from Zeke Elliott, and Zeke was never charged with anything in a court of law.
Right, and I hate to throw my brothers under the bus, but Jay Jones played for the Bills, running around butt naked, going through the glass.
Oh, my God, yeah.
You're not going to hear nothing from that. The other guy,
Wild man from the Jets riding the wrong way, blowing a .15 through the Lincoln Tunnel. I don't even know how the hell you can go the wrong way in the Lincoln Tunnel. And he hit another car, man, and injured people.
That was a bus.
A bus. Well, he hit something. Look, the point is he blew a .15, twice the legal limit, going the wrong way in the Lincoln Tunnel, okay? I'm sorry. It's not covered. I mean, of course, we hear about Terrence Williams, who he was out on his scooter and fell off. So that's the big news. But all these other teams, people getting in trouble left and right. It's just not covered like with the Cowboys.
Right. So it's not egregious unless it happened with the silver and blue star. But, hey, I heard, too, as well, you're talking about the aspect of now we have more money.
Yes.
And I like the way you broke that down so people can understand that since we signed Zach, we may have enough money to go to entertain this Earl Thomas situation.
Yeah.
But I want you to touch again on the Brian Price defensive tackle, the guy that's going to play inside.
Well, again, he's a big body. He's 6'3",
Mm-hmm.
about 320, 321, something like that. And he's played well, basically in part-time and stuff. And he, basically supplanted Cedric Thornton. And if that guy can end up being that immovable force, and I think he's going to get a big opportunity to play for the Cowboys. And under Rod Martinelli has taken guys that you never heard of and all of a sudden turn them into really good players. You can get him in the middle getting 3 or 4 sacks and clogging up the middle, then that will bode well for this defense.
Yes, indeed. I had to hear that because I was in between. So I just wish one day, just one day, we can go out and just grab a defensive tackle. That would help everybody. Everybody wanted linebackers to fly out to the ball, like you said earlier.
Yeah.
That would help them. That would help them right there. But we don't do that.
We don't.
Go against the grain.
Yeah, that's the Cowboys' philosophy. They all love these basically defensive ends and trying to make them into tackles. But the problem is when you're 6'5", 6'7", 6'8", you're a big target and you're kind of lean. And I put it out there that I'm 265 myself. Okay, at 5'10". Okay. You get a guy who's 6'6", who's about 270, 280. They're thin. And you get that big offensive lineman, you get that guard and that tackle double team, or the guard in the center, you're getting blown out the hole. And that's where we've been gashed on the running game. But before we get out of here, the question posed to me was who were going to be my 3 breakout players for this season. So I'm going to hear your opinion on who you think is going to break out this year.
Oh man, my pet cat would be Michael Gallup. I can't wait to see him against training camp when they really put the pads on and get face to face. And I want to see some fights out there too as well. I want to see how he can get under the skins of the Jordan Lewis's of the worlds and Cheeto Baby Boozy. I can't wait to see that. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Now my other guy that I have, as I guess a project in the making is Marquez White. I can't wait to see him. I heard some good stories and good stuff about him. He's long range. He got those long arms. Can be nuance out there. Kind of remind you of a Maxwell, but faster on his feet. I think that he's going to be like one of those guys that you have to put a placeholder on still. But I just have high hopes for him making the roster. And as far as the breakout player, you guys really want to know who I have in mind.
Here we go.
What do you say? When you say rolling him,
okay,
smoking Indo, gin and juice.
There you go.
Back with my mind on my money and my money on my mind. I'm talking about Randy Gregory. I really want him to get his mind together, man. And I don't want him laid back, smoking on anything. But I really want him to be smoking the quarterback. I want him to imagine that the quarterback is this big, nice bush, and he's coming off the edge, and he's going to light it up. That's what I want,
Well, the question, what I really wish, because you haven't seen him, what kind of shape is he in is my question. He's been basically off for over a year. He hasn't been able to have any contact with the team or working out and stuff. He may be reinstated in the next month or something before training camp, but the question is, what kind of shape is he in? I mean, they wouldn't let David Irving practice because he was out of shape. What shape is Randy Gregory being off this long?
Man, that is a conundrum, but I really think that the guy, from what I saw this rookie year when he played against the Giants, and he was able to get out to the edge, he didn't get to the quarterback, but he had that explosive burst off the edge, and that's what we really need. We need somebody that can counteract on the other side of the field versus what D-Law is going to do on his side of the field. So that's my guy that I have as a breakout player. Now, just to be honest, the other guy on the defense, I have all these guys that I have a wheel on. Of course, I said Marquez White. That's the guy that I'm expecting to just turn heads. But really, to be honest to you guys, I really want to see what Jalen Smith going to do too as well. I really want to see what he's going to do year 3 into his productions out there.
Yeah, that's another guy that definitely has been so far in OTAs without the brace has been flying around. They said that he is doing the shuttle run faster than anybody in the draft as far as linebackers this year. So that's fantastic. But with that being said, it's actually 10 o'clock. Law, I'm going to give you the final words here tonight.
Oh man, it's a pleasure. It's a palm-pleasing pleasure of listening and watching your show and listening and watching all the people that's in the chat box. Shout out to Dez22, the troll of the night, man. Hey, how you gonna be? I just gotta get this. I know you gotta
go ahead.
But how you gonna do this? It's equivalent of us wearing having Jerry Rice logo on our emblem with the 49ers gear. And we talking about the Dallas Cowboys. This brother, he got Dez Bryant 22 as his name, right?
Yeah, I know
what
you're
he
talking
got
about.
The Eagles, the filthy Eagles as his logo. Shout out to the troll of the night, man.
Yeah, there you
Bryant,
go.
And he got Dez Bryant 22 as his name.
We just may have to do the troll of the night. That may be the thing to do. Like
you
have the
won.
dumbass comment of the day. We got the troll of the night. Law, thank you so much for being part of the show tonight, man.
Absolutely.
We got to get back together and do some more stuff because I am looking forward to the season. We have 89 days, 18 hours, 23 minutes, and 4 seconds before the season starts. So, guys, thank everybody for joining in. I see Jackie. I see my man Virginia Finest, who says he's 6'7", 355 pounds. Can you go ahead and go down to Dallas and try out for the team for me? I see Eric, Connecticut Cowboys. All of you people, thank you so much for all the support and everything else. If you haven't already, be sure you show Law Nation some love, as well as DMV Cowboys, as well as DMV, Dallas Cowboys, E2 Blue, Michael Anthony Fitness. All these guys are working hard to bring you the best news on the Dallas Cowboys. I'm Mark Holmes, and I'll see you guys soon.